Today I'm going to talk about the elitism of Broadway. Bootlegs are a thing. They are an illegal thing, but they are a popular thing. And something that I noticed is that the big-name people on Broadway have this tendency to look down disdainfully on people who dare to watch bootlegs. And yes, it's illegal, but it's not like you're losing money if your show is popular enough to warrant a bootleg. And I can't help but wonder if these people realize the why of bootlegs. Like, why do people watch them? It's not to bite their thumb at you and dismiss all the work and effort and time that you put into this show. It's because going to see this show is so damn expensive. Let's say that I want to go see a show on Broadway. I'm not going to go too much into travel costs here because this is mostly about the cost of the tickets, but to talk about how much money I would end up spending, I do need to go into it a little bit. So I did some research online and considered the many various ways that I could travel. And while there are less expensive ways to travel than by flight, flight is the easiest and the quickest, so I'm going to focus on flight. So considering the cost of the flight, as well as the travel from my apartment to the airport here, as well as the airport there to the theater, and as well as all the various round trips, we are looking at a cost of about $561. And all the cost that I am looking into does not take into account things like food or lodging that I might have to get while I'm there. So having arrived in New York and knowing that I'm going to already have spent $561, I just need to get tickets. I went to the Broadway website and specifically looked at the Hamilton page because Hamilton is a very popular musical, and it's a musical that I haven't actually seen yet, but really want to. The cheapest tickets that I could find for Hamilton was $285, which means that even if I remove any travel cost, even if I was already living in New York or travel just wasn't an issue, even if I wasn't worried about spending money on food or lodging or an apartment in New York, I would be spending almost $300 on a ticket. And keep in mind, this is a single ticket for a single show. When I was in London, it was actually pretty easy to see shows. Because London had this apparently radical notion that theater and the arts should be available to everyone, not just people who have spare $300 lying around. The bigwigs on Broadway apparently don't have that notion. Now, I'm not going to pretend to understand the business of the ticket prices on Broadway. I don't know who comes to the decision of how much these tickets should cost. But that just seems insane. The most affordable ticket on Broadway that I got, and the only one that I have ever actually paid for, was for Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. And the seats were terrible. Call me crazy, but I can't help but think that the most affordable tickets shouldn't be terrible seats for a dying show. And to those who look down on people that watch bootlegs, do you really think that they'd rather see a poorly recorded copy of your show on a tiny screen? Of course not. They would much prefer to see it live. But for many people, because the tickets and travel are so insanely expensive, this is literally the only way that they can see a show. And I know that there are people on Broadway who are doing everything in their power to make shows more affordable. Lin-Manuel Miranda has the Ham for Ham Lotto, where he gives away tickets for $10. Also for Hamilton, I know that the people of Hamilton worked with several organizations to make it so that high school students in the area could see the show for free, or for only $10. And there's been a fairly recent trend of professionally recording these shows and releasing those to the public. And obviously you still have to pay for it, but it's not as much. And all of those things are fantastic, and I hope they continue to do that. But the bottom line here is that seeing a live show is fantastic, and Broadway needs to realize that they need to allow more people to see it at a reduced rate. Because a vast majority of us don't have a spare $300 lying around. So that's what I have to say about this topic, and I will see all of you tomorrow.